I have loved and lost so many women, so much so that the very air grows heavy with their absence. And it occurs to me that grief is not unlike the land we inhabit. Sometimes it's a vast open space where you can see all the way to the horizon, or sometimes it's a dense, dark forest where you can't be sure if you'll emerge alive. I have walked those landscapes often, and I know that whatever form it takes, grief always seems to echo the terrain of the heart. There is my mother, for instance, whose love filled our home like the sun through a stained glass window, soft colors dappled on the walls. Then there was Mary Beth, strong and quick-witted, a firecracker that burned away my loneliness with a single match. And then Catherine, quiet, gentle, patient, the kind of love that's best measured in inches, the way she would snuggle close on a winter's night, a haven in the cold. But none of them stayed. One turned to ash and left me empty. One moved away and took my laughter with her. And one simply faded like the last light of sunset. Each loss carved a new path into my soul. Some days the trails are clear and distinct, and some days I lose myself within the thicket of despair. A few weeks ago, I read somewhere that life is a series of catastrophic losses, and I thought, well, that's true. But the ability to grieve those losses with honesty and courage, well, that's what makes us human. Or maybe it's what allows us to become human. For my next story, I want to share a letter from a listener who is finding his way out of the darkness, or trying to. This is his story. It all started shortly after I got back from Iraq. My unit was sent to a small village to root out a high-value target. We had intelligence that he was in the village, but nobody could confirm it, so we decided to take over the entire village. We went house to house, room to room. I was in charge of clearing a house while my squad set up security outside. As we cleared the house, my team came across a room with two doors. The first door we opened and we didn't see anything. So we checked out the second room, and that's when I heard gunshots. We got ambushed. We returned fire, and I instantly regretted it. There was a woman and a little boy in front of me, and they were caught in the crossfire. The woman was hit and fell down. I remember kneeling down to check on them, asking if they were okay. And the boy turned to me, looked me in the eye, and yelled, "You killed my mom," and started screaming. I don't know why, but that really messed with me. After we got out of there, I got word that the woman died. I was pretty shook up. I mean, I've taken lives before, but this one seemed different. I started to question whether I was really doing the right thing. I didn't talk to anyone about it. I bottled it up and kept going. I completed my tour and came home. But even after being home for a while, I couldn't stop thinking about what happened to that family. 3 months after I got back, I was hanging out with some buddies of mine, and they started talking about some crazy shit they did in combat. And I got really pissed off because I felt like I couldn't relate to any of it. I remember storming off and calling my brother and just losing it. I told him about that day and how guilty I felt. He listened and he told me to go see a shrink. So I did. It didn't help. I couldn't tell her anything. I couldn't even tell her that I'd killed someone. All I would say is that I had survivor-esque guilt and that I felt responsible for the death of a child. I tried to keep going, but I soon started having panic attacks and nightmares. I became an alcoholic. I drank to forget. My wife noticed that something was up, and she pushed me to talk to another therapist. I finally agreed, but it was too much to handle. I started crying uncontrollably, and I told her what happened. She gave me medicine and told me to get as much rest as possible. Well, as the days went on, I continued to go downhill. I started to forget things. I would stare off into space for hours. I had no idea what was happening to me. So I told my wife that I needed to go back to the hospital. She talked to my doctor, and I was admitted to the psych ward. At the hospital, they tested me and diagnosed me with PTSD and major depressive disorder. They put me on medication, and after a few weeks, I began to feel better. I went to therapy and began to confront my demons. The whole time I kept blaming myself for what happened to that family. I thought I was a monster. I didn't think that anybody could ever forgive me. About a year after this all happened, I received a letter from the family. I was so shocked. I didn't know what to do. I called my wife and I told her that I got a letter, and she said, "Don't open it. It's probably nothing." But I read it anyway, and this is what it said. "Dear Matthew, on behalf of my family, I would like to thank you for taking the life of my sister and nephew. Words cannot express the gratitude that I have for you. You freed us from the pain of living under a tyrant. You freed us from the fear of dying every day. You freed us from the chains of oppression. My sister and nephew are now martyrs. They are heroes. They died for the cause. Their deaths were not in vain. Thank you again, Matthew. With deepest gratitude, the grieving brother of the martyr." I nearly collapsed. I didn't know what to do. I had killed them and they were thanking me. I reached out to the family and asked if I could meet with them. They agreed. I traveled to their home and met with the family and the elders of the village. I explained myself. I apologized profusely for what I had done. I told them how haunted I've been by their deaths. They accepted my apology and they told me that they knew I wasn't a monster. They understood that I was just doing my job. They were very forgiving and they wished me luck in my future endeavors. Today, I am still haunted by what happened. But I have learned to forgive myself. I have moved on with my life. I continue to seek treatment, and I am also volunteering at a veterans organization. If I can make it, so can they. I am proof of that. Thank you for listening. Matthew, I'm so sorry you carry this burden. I'm sorry you've had to endure this level of grief. But I'm glad that you're speaking out. I'm glad you're getting help. I'm glad you're sharing your story, and I'm glad that you're helping others. You've experienced unimaginable horrors, and you're still choosing to be good. You're choosing to heal. You're choosing to help. That says more about you than anything else. That's the real measure of a good man. And I want to say thank you for sharing your story with us. We appreciate you. We honor your truth. And we hope that by sharing your experience, you can help lift some of this weight off your shoulders. It won't be easy. It takes time to process these emotions. It takes time to heal, to grow, to overcome. But you're on the right path, and we want you to keep walking. We believe in you. We honor your strength. We see your resilience, and we salute your bravery. We are grateful for you. And if you need us, we're here. If you need someone to listen, someone to empathize, someone to connect, please reach out. We care. And if you don't have someone in your life who cares, please know that we do. You matter. Your feelings are valid. Your trauma is real, and there's hope for healing. We're rooting for you, Matthew. If you want to learn more about mental health resources, please visit our website. You can also find helpful resources there. Please take care.